Hey, this is Peggy, and I was asked to make a recording on taking a silhouette picture and making it into an applique. So we are going to be in the Premier Plus version of Ultra, and we are going to go down into the Create module, which is the little tulip at the bottom left of the screen. And it opens up to a screen similar to this. And we're going to load a picture into the paint window and say next. And then we're loading the picture. And I am going to go out into my pictures. And I keep a folder called Machine Embroidery Ideas. And in that folder, I keep a folder for silhouettes. So let's say we wanted to take a ghost silhouette. And we're going to say next. And we can box it in as desired. And then we're going to pick our hoop. And this is according to what size we want it. If we want to add lettering and stuff on top of it, you might want to choose a smaller hoop and then use a bigger hoop later to add your lettering. For now, we're just going to say next for the 200 by 200 quilter's hoop. And here you can leave it as is. I like to take it down to 2, just black and white. It really doesn't make that much of a difference though. And all we're going to do to make an applique out of this is go into Quick Create. And we're not going to do any pattern fill at this point. We have to decide what we want on the outside. And it's going to be a satin line for an applique. And because it's just one solid figure, we're going to do a quick stitch. And we click here, and it puts an outline around our silhouette. We say OK, and there's our applique. Now, I can see one thing going on right here. This area right here is beyond the hoop. So what I'm going to do is go to the Home tab. And I'm going to go Modify Block. And I'm going to say scale it to fit my hoop. And that'll bring it down just enough so that now we can go File, Export Embroidery. If you want to export your applique pieces, now is the time to do so. You can just print them out if you want, and you do your print setup and then print just like normal. You can export them for SVG just by clicking there, SVG, and it will save it as an SVG file, so you can cut it with your Cricut or whatever you have. Usually I do a print template first and print that out. Sometimes I do both if I can, but now's the time to do it because you can't, to my knowledge, you can't do it from the regular Premier program. You have to do it from here. Okay, so that would be how you do that. I do like to print my templates, so I have a paper file. Okay, so now we're going to export embroidery. It doesn't have any lettering or anything on it, so I have to flip it. And there's my Sonnet cloud. And I'm just gonna say hoop name tag for now. That's a good place to put it. And name it Ghost. And do the export. You could also do a copy and it lands down in this area. I do like to do an export so I actually have the file saved. And we could do a file open. And I'm going to back up one step here. It's always best if you're going to do layering and lettering and things like that to do an insert instead of an open. It's kind of the difference between, remember the old days when teachers used transparencies and an overhead, and you had different layers that they could move around on their screen. That's the same way. So if you insert it, you can still move the bottom layer. Whereas if you open it, it's pretty static. There's my name tag, folder, open it, ghost. There's my ghost. Now, the other thing that you should always do is take a look at your design player and see if it's doing what you want it to do. There's the tack down stitch. Now you're going to lay your fabric on top. And it is stitching another stitch on top. That tacked your fabric down, and you're going to cut. And now it's doing the satin stitch. Okay. Another thing I want to caution you about is you can right-click. Those are your borders. And if you right-click one more time, it's going to tell you what the width of that satin stitch is. And I typically tune that up to about 4, so it's thick enough to cover up the fabric and the stitches and hold everything down. So make sure you go in there and tune that the way you want it. Make sure it says close borderline. And that's it. So I'm going to save this one more time. And remember, we have to also scale that down so it will fit the hoop. Otherwise, you will get this message, and that's what you're going to do to cure that issue. You're going to say, okay. You're going to go home. You're going to go modify block and scale to fit the hoop. And then file, export. And there's the ghost. I'm going to save it right over it and say yes. And that's the lesson on taking a silhouette and making it into an applique. Thanks for watching. Bye.